dark spots or an uneven complexion, I know it can be very, very frustrating. Let's talk about why pigmentation even happens and what we can do to help calm it down or we can treat it. Pigmentation issues like melasma, sun damage, and pigmentation after scars or acne are actually very, very common and affect more people than you can even imagine. Let's dive into how this happens and what we can do to help control it. So generally, pigmentation happens when there is some sort of inflammation or when there is sun exposure or exposure to other chemicals that leads to the overproduction of melanin in our skin that gets deposited in the layers of our skin. And so there are multiple reasons why this can happen, and depending on what's causing it, it may be easier or sometimes a little harder for us to control some of those things. Actually, prevention is the number one thing that we can all do to try to control it, fix it, but more importantly, help it from happening again. Prevention is key because that is the first step to help us control whenever there's an active issue and we're doing treatments using medical products or maybe lasers or light treatments to try to calm it down. But it is also going to be important in the long term to help us prevent it from happening again. Because remember, the sun is not going anywhere. We have to live outside. We're always going to be exposed to the sun, but other things like heat, for us living in Florida, we're under the heat, like we're exposed to heat when we're driving, when we're outside, when we're at the park, when we're at the beach. And for some other patients who actually have conditions like melasma or acne, where some of those lesions are leading irritation that then leads to pigmentation, some of those things actually can never be really cured. And so prevention, it is very important to just keep everything calm and preventing those processes that lead to the pigment formation by the skin, by those melanocytes. Then once we have our prevention plan in place, we can use topical treatments, creams like niacinamide, tranexamic acid, arbutin, hydroquinone, all sorts of different products in medical grade skincare that can help us remove some of that pigment slowly over time. Remember, this doesn't happen just overnight, but over time using these products can help us pull some of that pigment, but more importantly, help us continue to prevent. Now, it is important to remember that medical grade skincare products like we carry here in our office are definitely what you should invest in. Going to Macy's and going to Walgreens or Target to buy over-the-counter treatments, that's probably not going to be as effective because those products, the concentration is not very high. It's not very pure, and so their effectiveness is way lower. So while they may be cheaper and easier to buy, you may be wasting your money because you're less likely to see the results that you want if you were to compare to medical grade skincare products. And a lot of times we'll actually use them and recommend them and prescribe them right before we do any light or laser treatments to help you achieve the best results. Like I said so many times, these products may not be enough to really pull the pigment and help your skin look exactly how you want it to look. And so we may recommend doing in-office treatments to help pull out some of that pigment in a more efficient and effective way than just by using topical treatments at home. And so at Lumina, we have many treatments that have been proven scientifically to be safe for most, if not all, skin types and work in different ways, almost like using different guns to try to pull that pigment. Treatments like BBL, which stands for broadband light, is the world's most advanced IPL device, which is one of the gold standards for pulling pigment and helping with any sort of wintry conditions. But laser treatments like Halo, laser treatments like Moxie, treatments like Clear Silk even, can help us really get that skin renewal going and pulling up some of that damage that has happened over the years and help us achieve a more even complexion and a brighter complexion that will look and will show to the world as healthy, beautiful skin. Finally, it is so important to have some lifestyle changes in your life. So if you have melasma and you're prone to getting pigmentation with sun exposure or heat, we've got to work on that. If you have identified or we have helped you identify that some of your pigmentary issues may be due to hormones, hormonal imbalances, maybe new medications that you're taking, let's try to figure out if there's something that we can change so that we can help you prevent it. And if not, at least understanding that it is something that you're going to be dealing with lifelong is important, and that way we can create a plan to help correct on a routine basis what may be happening over the years as you continue to be exposed to those factors that unfortunately we cannot avoid. Some of it's genetics, there's not much that we can do about that. So a lot is education and empowering and understanding what is really happening and what we can do to help you minimize the chance of that pigment happening and preventing you from getting flare-ups over time.